Awesome.
Got it. Yay. Well, we're going to get started, you guys. Welcome to the Monday morning open house recap. We're actually doing a special training today. I'm repeating it because we just hit the record button. So we've got Tina Valiant that's going to be doing a Go for No training based off of the book by author. Did anybody grab that yet? No? We'll grab it.
Yeah, Richard Fenton is the author for the book.
Richard Fenton. Okay.
Fenton.
Perfect. Got it. Wrote it. So I'm going to turn it over to Tina to kind of get this started. I'm excited for this, you guys. Let's go. Thanks, Tina.
All right, are you ready?
Ready.
And so here's the thing too. I'm not going to give you guys, normally this is very interactive when I train, as most of you know, but when we're going through this one, I'm going to go through it and then we're going to talk about it afterward. Okay. Sound good? Yes. All right.
Yes.
So, all right. Destination. Yes is the destination. No is how you get there. The current.
Got it.
All right. The current mindset of the majority. Once I hit my goal, I can pull back and rest a little bit. The current fear. No is rejection, but worse, it is failure. I cannot fail. And that's the mindset that we all have. As agents, it's normal that like once we get a couple under contract, we kind of sit back, we take our foot off the gas. And then the other part of that is we're afraid of rejection. We're afraid to call past leads. We're afraid that they didn't really like us. Or if they don't actually pick up the phone, we're afraid that we did something to upset them. We take it so personally. And this training is what teaches you that it's not personal at all. The commonly used statistic in sales is 1 in 10 people will buy from you. In order to make 2 sales, you must meet, are you guys filling out your blanks?
Mm-hmm.
It's 1 in 10 people will buy from you. In order to make 2 sales, you must meet or call on 20 prospects. What if you call 2 people or meet 2 people and get 2 sales? Do you stop calling or do you want to quit? Let's take it a step further. What if you have 2 closings scheduled? Do you feel like you can relax a little bit, because money is coming in? Absolutely. That's normal, right?
Well, that's the roller coaster. That's the roller coaster we talk about. And it's especially prevalent in the open house business.
It is. Or let's say you guys are door knocking and you knock on some doors and you had planned on knocking on 30 doors that day. And then all of a sudden, the 10th door, somebody allows you into their home and you sit there and you end up doing a listing presentation. Most people at that point would go ahead and say, okay, well, I got my listing presentation. I'm done for the day, instead of continuing on and knocking on those other 20 doors.
Mm-hmm.
So what if your success was determined more by how often you fail? Yes, I said fail. Failing does not equal failure. Failing is simply the means to get you to your success faster. What if you lived in a world where you understood that it takes 18 no's before you could get to 2 yeses? What if instead of counting your yeses, you counted your no's and made your goals based on those numbers? So maybe you call or speak to 2 people and get 2 yeses. Are you done? No. You still need 18 no's or your time is not done. So you keep going. Your goal is to get no. You are looking for the no's. Yes, you are counting them. Yes, you are calling as many people as it takes to get your no's. Why? To fulfill your no quota. Maybe then you might be by accident get more yeses. So based on the analogy that I had just given you, think about it. You go out, you knock on 10 doors. The 10th one allows you to come in, you do a listing presentation. If you're going for your no quota, you've only gotten 9 no's. Well, your no quota that day was to get what? 17? Mm-hmm. 17, because 1 in 10 will say yes to you, which means you still have that many more doors to go before you can even call it a day. And guess what? At the end of the day, if you, let's say you got 5 yeses that day, you're not done until you get the no quota, not the yes quota, the no quota.
Well, and this is, Tina, this is especially prevalent in the door knocking for our open house model because A lot of people will wait. The other thing about it too is when you're doing door knocking, you guys, on a minimum standard, again, none of this is the same reason we don't do 2-hour open houses. If you're going to do the work, do the work. And that's why flipping this mindset to going for the no instead of going for the yes is amazing. We know that in this system, minimum, you need 10 houses on either side of the house that you're doing and 20 houses across the street. That's 40 houses minimum when you are door knocking. And if it's a small neighborhood that's maybe got 50 or 60 houses in them, do the whole thing. And this mindset will change you, because she's absolutely right. How many of you have gone out door knocking in about 4 or 5 houses, you get a couple bad responses and you're like, I'm out of here. Mm-hmm. I've done it. Mm-hmm. I've done it. This is how you change it. If you accept the no, if you accept the negative as part of your business, it's going to change your life.
Well, and let's take it over instead of door knocking, because some people on this call don't door knock. But what about the people that are calling like your past leads? So you're calling, and let's say you get one on the phone and all of a sudden you get an appointment. The typical way that we think of things is, okay, I got my appointment. I can be done for the day. Let's move on. Let's do something different because I met my goal of getting an appointment today. No, if you have a no goal, you're not done until you're done. You got to go through the whole list because you got to get as many no's as you can. So, and let me talk to you about one story. So, young sales guy, retail. He's at the store, he's working. He really is scared that he's going to get fired. He's like, you know what? I can't ever hit my goal. I don't know what to do. And now the regional manager is here and I think he's here to fire me. I think that because I can't hit my goals, he's going to fire me. So lucky day for the sales guy. He's on the sales floor. This gentleman walks in and he's like, guess what? I need a whole new wardrobe. I need a whole wardrobe. I need you to help me pick an entirely new wardrobe. And the sales guy's like, oh yes, I'm going to hit my goal while the regional manager's here. And I'm so excited. So he goes around with the guy. He's helping him pick some outfits. He gets him into the dressing room and he ends up selling him about $1,000 in clothes. And he walks out, he rings him up. And he goes over to his regional manager and he's like, look, I hit my goal. I hit my whole sales goal. Are you proud of me? And the sales manager is just shaking his head. The regional manager, he's like, I think you could have done better. And the sales guy is offended. He's like, what do you mean? How could I have done better? And the regional manager says, let me ask you a question. Did he ask you to stop bringing him clothes or did you decide he got enough? Did he end the conversation with you or did you decide that the conversation was over? And the sales guy just sat there and looked at him and was like, you're right. I stopped bringing him clothes. And he goes, because you decided $1,000 was enough in clothes. That's your limiting belief. You probably could have given him another $1,000 worth of clothes and he would have bought it because you don't know what his size of wardrobe that he needed to replace was. You made the decision for him.
You didn't wait till he said no.
You didn't wait till he said no. You decided, okay, let me ring you up. So, and I want you guys to think about that in the way that, okay, so we're at an open house and people are talking to us. They're still standing there or sitting at our table and they're talking to us. And we're like, well, I'm so glad you came in today. I hope you have a great day. And we end the conversation. Mm-hmm. Why? They didn't say they were done with us. What if they have friends and family that want to buy too? What if they have more criteria to give us? Did we even close them? Did we even ask them any questions for them to give us a no? Or did we decide in our own limiting belief that we have something else to do, so they must as well? It's the same kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's you guys, all of this stems from your comfort. All of this. And this is why I think this training is so important. This mindset is so important because this is not unlike the realm I came with auditions in theater. You just got to get tough skin and you are going to get way more no's than you get yeses. But it's exactly what she said. If you don't go to the auditions, if you don't show up, if you don't do your open houses and go through every single lead until you get the answer, not create the answer for yourself. There's a very big difference. And most people want to do that because they get scared and they want to bail. But when you go for the actual answer, yes or no, it's very simple, then you're actually doing your job. It's the same thing. And you got to have tough skin. You got to have tough skin. And it doesn't matter what you're doing in this business, especially. That's why, you know, the theater and real estate are not very different, to be honest. It's really interesting. And I'm learning more about that every day. But it is about having tough skin, and it's about setting the expectations for yourself so that you can move forward in the way that you know you need to move forward.
And understand that it's not personal. 99.9% of the time, it's not personal. So this is where it really starts to change things for you right here. Your mindset must change from right now, you believe that you are in the middle and you have failure on one side and you have success on the other. And the bottom line is this, it really is, you have to go through failures in order to succeed. Success does not come without first failing. It's not possible. You have to go through the steps. And so it's not you against failure. It's you wanting the failures as quick as possible so that you can get to the successes. And that means no being a failure. We have that in our mind that no is a failure. No, the faster we get through the no's, the faster we can get to the yeses. So failing is the halfway mark on the road to success, not a destination to be avoided, but rather a stepping stone to get what I really want in life. In order to have greater success, you must fail faster. Now, you guys are going to have to repeat after me, and I can't see that you're doing, but you need to repeat after me that I like to fail. Go ahead. I like to fail. And it's hard to say. I like to fail.
I like to fail.
I fail big. I fail big and I fail often. It's okay. Say it. I fail big and I fail often.
I fail big and I fail often.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but no can never hurt me.
Sticks and stones will break my bones.
But no can never hurt me.
Will never hurt me.
And guys, that's actually in the book. I did not create that.
That's actually very funny.
That one's wonderful.
That's actually very funny.
No is the difference between massive success and mediocre performance. The 5 failure levels. Level 1, and I really want you to think about where you fit into this. Level 1, the ability to fail. 100% of people on the planet have the ability to fail. It's where we all start. What keeps most people at level 1 status is their intense desire to avoid any form of failure at all costs. As a result, 80% of people never move past this basic level. And that, my friends, is why there's an 80-20 rule right there. There is no accident that 80% of people are afraid to fail. And that's why there's 20% of the people out there that are successful. And willingness to fail. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I want to caveat this a little bit too, because you guys, this first section, this level 1, ability to fail, this is super important on a mindset level. Realize we are conditioned for not wanting to accept failure. We are conditioned that no is a bad word. So when you're working on this isn't, oh my God, I took Tina's class and all of a sudden, you know, I know what I'm doing and it's going to be great. This is really deep, heavy work and self-reflective work that you are going to have to take time to work through and practice, because we are conditioned from a young age that no and doing things incorrectly is the wrong way to go. And it's actually the opposite.
100%. Level 2, willingness to fail. People develop the willingness to fail, which means that they come to accept failure as a natural byproduct of process of seeking success. Fewer than 20% of all people make it to level 2 for any sustained period of time. Most of you on this call have at least reached level 2 status. Okay. Level 3, wantingness to fail. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Who wants to fail, right? Who's seeking failure? Having the wantingness to fail goes beyond more tolerance or acceptance of failure as a part of life. Wantingness means developing the desire to fail with the inner faith that personal and financial growth will follow. Fewer than 5% of all people ever get to level 3. Now, I want you to think about that. Wantingness to fail. That means when you change your mindset to going for no instead of the yes, now you've stepped over to wantingness to fail because you understand that it's the way to success.
And it's the same thing, you guys. This is so, I love this because even in Tom's classes on Fridays when we're doing business planning and it's all boiling everything down and all of these big ideas down to the number of appointments that you have in a week to the small number, this is the difference between getting there and not getting there. Because when you get down to the nitty gritty, when you get down to the yes or no choice, it's quick. And again, remember, we're conditioned to go for the yes. So when you really practice this and take this in and have this wantingness, I love that word, wantingness, your whole mindset's going to change. And all of these big mountains that we talk about all the time in this business, the mountains that we have to conquer, this is the way to do it step by step because you're breaking everything down into a yes or no answer. And you want to go for the no answer. This Absolutely. Is brilliant. I love this.
All right. Level 4, failing bigger and faster. The people who ascend to level 4 are those who have come to the conclusion that if failing is good, then failing faster is better. And not just failing faster, but if one is going to increase their failure rate, do it going after big goals that are worthy of the effort. Level 5, failing exponentially. The final level is for those rare individuals who understand that massive success requires multiplication effort. Level 5 people enlist others to fail with them, knowing that if individual failure means individual success, group failure equals group success. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is acting in the face of fear. It's being afraid of something and doing it anyway. What are we most afraid of? Rejection and failure. Without the existence of both rejection and failure, we can never truly succeed. Who in their right mind thinks rejection is fun? Where is it written that rejection has to be awful? Why can't rejection be only slightly annoying or amazing or amusing, or for that matter, exciting and energizing? Well, we already have no control over actions of others. We do have total and complete control over how we react. What if we decide to make each no we receive and every rejection we encounter something that empowers us? Instead of avoiding rejection, what if we made the decision to seek rejection instead of avoiding it, or perhaps simply tolerating it? What if we went out of our way to actually go for no? We are all 2 letters away from greatness, N-O. That is the get rejected and get rich theory. So I have to stop here for a minute because I have a very funny story. After I did this training with my team, and understand, guys, when I did this training with my team was struggling. It was the summer in Arizona. It was 115 degrees outside. They weren't getting any sales. You could see that they were beaten down every Monday when they came into the room. They were exhausted. They were hot. They were frustrated. And I went to my coach and I was like, okay, Gary, like I need something to re-energize them. I need something to like pop in their head to get them re-energized. He's like, read this book, do this training. I'm like, okay. So I pumped them up the week before. I'm getting ready to change your life. This is going to change your life. This is going to energize you. This is going to get you more business. They came in, they were a little like, okay, what is she talking about? What is she going to do here? Because other times I've like popped popcorn and thrown it at them, like all kinds of stuff. So they're like, what is she going to do here? We went over this training. And after the training, I said to them, now, after we're done today, make sure you have your lead calls with you, because we're all going to sit in different parts of the house and call our past leads. And you cannot leave until you have 20 no's. You have to have 20 no's before you can go home. So after the training, they're kind of pumped up and they're like, okay, we're going for the no, we're going to do this. So I'm walking around the room and there was this 23-year-old Sierra that was on my team. This girl, she was an amazing girl. I mean, great person. Nobody ever saw her coming. She would like slide in and get the deal, right? So she's calling her past leads and she's very frustrated when I walk up to her. So I said, Sierra, what's wrong? Why are you so frustrated? She's like, Tina, I'm never going to get to go home. I've got 8 appointments for next week. Nobody's telling me no. I'm going to be here forever. I can't get the 20 no's. I don't know what to do. And I just started laughing. And I looked at her and I'm like, Sarah, do you hear what you just said? You just set up 8 appointments for next week. And you're mad at me that you can't go home until you get your 20 no's. If I were you, I would keep going because whatever you're doing is working, my friend. And she's like, but I have things to do.
No, and this is you guys, this is the same mindset. I've told you guys the Brent Gove story about how he wanted to do 30 contracts in 30 days and failed absolutely miserably. And he did like 15 in a month. Yeah. Oh, darn. Oh, crap. It's all mindset. And that paragraph that you just read about who in their right mind thinks rejection is fun. The thing that stood out to me there, and this is very much in line with what Mr. DeFalco teaches on Wednesdays. And Tina, something that we do, which actually the 7 decisions would be a really cool thing to share here too. That would be a heavy class, but you know, the buck stops here with you guys. And we spend so much time as real estate agents and as people in general, worrying about all of these other things that we are surrounded with that we have absolutely no control over. And that's the part that I want. And that's the same thing with open houses. We have zero control every weekend about how many people are going to come in there. Zero. We can set it up. We know the foundation. We know how to create the opportunity, but whether they walk in or not, that's not on you. But if you create the opportunity, it is. It's the same mindset here. It's the same mindset that Fred talks about living a fulfilled life and living a life that doesn't have, you know, all of this concern and worry. You know what I mean? This really is a powerful tool to give yourself control over your business and your mindset. It's really cool.
100%. 100%. Yep. So let's go over how you set your no goals. Okay. Like I said before, the average sales statistic is 1 in 10 people will buy from you. Now, I will tell you, if you have the right training and all of the different things that you need in your toolbox in order to succeed, my team, their ratios are 1 in 3 people will actually give them permission for continued contact and want to work with them. 1 in 3. But for the sake of this, let's do 1 in 10 because that's the national average. So how do you set your no goal? Well, option A is you just leave it as it is. You don't want to go for an exponential success. So you need 18 no's out of 20 calls in order to get 2 yeses. That's your equation right there. If you want to go to option B and you want a little bit more success, go ahead and increase it a little bit more. Instead of going for 18 no's, maybe you're going to go for 22 no's or 24 no's. And this is in a 1-day period or at an open house or door knocking or whatever you're choosing to do. Maybe you're cold calling. It doesn't matter. You can use these statistics. Now, option C is for the person who wants exponential growth. And my team member, Alan, who passed away, he was big into this. He won the No Award every year. And every year he always had top sales on my team. And it was because he went to option C. And what that is what he wanted a 30% increase year after year on what he had done. And so he would always put, well, I want 30%. So I'm going to go ahead and increase my no goal by 30%. And that way I'm assured that I'm going to get 30% higher in yeses. And it worked time over time over time after he got this training. So he did. That's exactly what he did. How many of you end your hot streak yourself? Meaning, when salespeople hit a streak of yeses, the worst, and we've already talked about this several times, you kind of take your foot off the gas. I've got deals in, I've got things going on. I'm not going to do my open houses this week because I have a closing and because I have an inspection. And we don't realize when we're doing that everything we do today affects us 3 to 4 months from now. Everything we do today. So if you're taking your foot off the gas now, all of a sudden 3 to 4 months from now, you don't really have anything going on because everything from today that you didn't do is affected in that time frame. And Alan is another perfect example of that the first year. And you guys have heard me, some of you have heard me say the story. He was one of those. He's like, Tina, I have 6 in the pipeline. I got to do this inspection. I got to do that inspection. I got to do this. And I'm like, no, you need to go do your open houses because Alan, what's going to happen is in 3 to 4 months, you're not going to have anything going on. Do not allow your current business to affect your future business. Very, very important. And he fought me on it. So finally I was like, okay, I'm going to let you learn your lesson yourself. I'm not happy about it, but I'm going to let you fall on your face with this. He didn't listen to me. He closed all 6, did not have another closing for 6 months. Nothing. Because he didn't keep his foot on the gas. So don't be that person.
You guys, it's like surfing. If you get up on the wave and you get up there, you can ride that thing all the way home. But if you don't get up and stay up, that wave is going to go right underneath you and you're in flat water until the next one comes. And then you've got to do the same process and build it up and stand up again. Do it once, learn how to balance and ride that wave. That's all you have to do. The foot off the gas, it's real, you guys. That is, George talks about it all the time, this roller coaster, and this is the way you can take this, really big roller coaster of extremes and turn it into just a little roller coaster that maybe has some little ups and downs, but it keeps moving. This is the key.
So your fill in the blanks in this section is when salespeople hit a streak of yeses, the worst thing that they can do is back off or slack off. The next section is, hold on, I lost my place here. Sorry, guys, this is not my material, like I said. But when you're going for no and you hit a hot streak of yeses, you actually step up your sales attempts to hit your no goal. Would a manager of a baseball team keep his star player out of a game because he was on a hot streak? I really want you to think about that. Think about it. We're in the World Series, right? We're in the last game. Our pitcher is killing it. And now all of a sudden, as a coach, we're like, well, I'm really glad you're doing a great job. I'm going to go ahead and pull you out of the game so that we can let somebody else have a turn. We as fans would all be like, what the heck are you doing? So why do we do the same thing as salespeople? Why? Why do we think that it's okay for us to do that? It's a mindset, guys. It's a total mindset. You have to shift. Mm-hmm. There is not one success story where the successful one did not fail many times first. R.H. Macy failed 7 times to get his department chain off the ground before he finally succeeded. Harlan Sanders at 65 and retired. He didn't even have enough money to live on. Went on the road and spent the next 2 years trying to sell owners of fast food restaurants an idea of using his chicken recipe. In that 2 years' time, how many restaurants signed up? 0. He failed over and over again for 2 years and then finally succeeded, one right after another. Abraham Lincoln had less than 1 year of formal schooling, failed in business twice, and lost 8 of the 10 elections he was in before winning the presidency in 1860. Do you remember him for his failures, or do you remember him for saving the Union, abolishing slavery, and being a man of great integrity and courage? Babe Ruth is remembered for his record of 714 homers.
Not for his strikeouts.
Yeah, not for his 1,330 strikeouts, which was also a record. Think about it. Do we ever hear that about Babe Ruth? Ever? No. Look how many more times he failed in order to succeed. Look how many more times Harlan Sanders failed in order to succeed. And those are people that we base business models off of. That's who we use to set goals in our life, is those people. So we need to know what their failures were.
Just like everything else, you guys. It's just like Hollywood. It's just like all of this. What we see, what we're exposed to is the tip of the iceberg. It's this. So when you're reading these stories about these famous people, these awesome business people, try to find the whole story, not just the reported story, because you are going to find a lot of failure there. And that's good. That should make you feel a little better. It makes me feel better, and not in a like, sadistic kind of way, but in a way that's like, you know what? They're just people. They're just people. We're all the same. It's mindset that made the difference.
Yep. And we're going to talk about that in this next section. I don't know if any of you know the Pike Syndrome. So there was a group of scientists that took Pike and put them in a glass, what is it? An aquarium, right? They put them in the bowl, and they had a glass partition in there. And so what they would do is the scientists would put the food on one side of the glass, and they would put the pike on the other side of the glass, so that every time the pike went for the food, it would hit its nose against the glass over and over and over again. Eventually, the scientists took out the glass to see what the pike would do if he would recognize that he could get to the food. Interestingly enough, the pike never tried to get past the glass to get to the food, even when it was removed, because he had been conditioned in his mind that he could not have the food. So I want you to think about that in business. How many times have we conditioned our brain that we have this lid on us? Oh no, I can't make over 100,000 a year. Oh no, I can't have more than 3 clients at a time. I can't reach success because nobody in my family has ever truly been successful. So why do I feel that I'm worthy of reaching success? I'm going to keep that glass in the aquarium to keep me from getting to that other side, because this is my comfort zone over here. Instead of removing the glass and rushing to the other side, we've put this lid on ourselves to where we haven't pushed forward. We haven't truly reached our potential because we've been conditioned that it's not for us. And I'm here to tell you guys today that it is. There is no limit on you. There's nothing you can't achieve if you put your mind to it. You are your own individual. I don't care if you grew up in a home where you were taught that money was the root of all evil. I'm here to tell you that money does not have to be the root of all evil. It is okay for you to say, I am worthy of success and financial freedom, and I can change the world with my financial freedom. I don't have to be the root of all evil. And guys, I'm here to tell you that most people are not afraid as much of failure as they are success, because they're afraid it's going to change them. So take your glass out of your aquarium and go to the other side and see what's there for you and see what you can do with it. Don't be afraid of that side. Don't allow others' conditioning to change your mind of who you're supposed to be. Reach for who you really want to be.
And here's the thing, and people are afraid of success because they are afraid it's going to change them. Guess what? It is going to change you, but here's the difference. You can choose how it changes you right now, because success isn't a point, it's a journey. So you can choose to have the positive success journey right now, to have the thick skin, to, be somebody that is resilient to all of these voices around you, or you can choose to let it just somehow happen, because anything that you do is going to work if you do it long enough. You could choose to let it just happen and not go through that journey. And that's usually when the success changes people not for the better. But when you take control of your journey to success, your journey in success, I should say, not even to success, journey in success. When you make that choice now, it's going to change you for the better, and you can still hold on to everything that you're worried about losing.
100%. 100%. And guys, no now does not mean no forever. And just to prove this, somebody might say no to you. Let's say you're at an open house. My agents actually play a game where how they get more no's is they will ask more questions to the same people over and over and over again to get as many no's as they can from that person before they walk away. It's actually very powerful. And that's how they'll get like 200 no's in a week, 300 no's in a week, because they'll count all the no's that they got from that one person. But here's the funny thing. What they've learned is how to ask the questions differently over and over again in different ways. And eventually they're getting the yeses because of the no's, because it's making them think about how to ask the question differently. But also when you have past clients, no now, like, no, I'm not looking for a home right now. Doesn't mean they're not ever looking for a home. So call them back 6 months from now, call them back 3 months from now, call them back a year from now. And it's funny because I have one person on my team that's calling leads that we procured 3 years ago, 4 years ago from open houses. And how he's calling them is he's giving them an apology. He's saying, hi, my name is Shane. I'm with TK Group and we met you at an open house. I need to apologize to you because we met you 4 years ago and nobody's followed up with you. And that's on us. And I'm calling today just to make sure that you found what you were looking for. I want you to think about what I just said. He apologizes and it catches them completely off guard. Now, at this point, it doesn't matter what they say. He's going for the no anyway. Do you know that Shane procured like 4 or 5 listings last year, calling like 150 people on this list for calling and apologizing and asking them? They're like, oh no, we did buy a home, but actually we're ready to sell.
4 years ago, I know.
Been 4 years.
Well, and you guys,
I'm so glad you called us. Thank you so much for your apology. And he's expecting for the phone to get slammed on him. And when I wrote him the script, he was like, really, you want me to call and apologize?
Mm-hmm. And think about how powerful, like, in that, when was this, Tina?
Last year.
This last year. Okay. So ramping up. Think about how powerful that would be right now in this market where we are cruising towards the top and it is not a secret. You know what I mean? So you're calling people from 4 years ago that even if they bought a house from you 4 years ago, you're calling them now and being like, hey, I apologize, blah, blah, blah. There are so many more people that are thinking about it, especially right now. Door knocking. We almost have a listing appointment every single time we door knock. Right now, because everybody knows this won't last forever. It's 100%. A huge opportunity right now, you guys. Huge. Yep.
100%. So, failing exponentially. The faster you fail, the faster you reach success. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times to invent the light bulb. Edison states, when asked how the failures felt, I haven't failed 10,000 times. I've simply discovered 10,000 ways that will not work. Edison went out and hired a bunch of inventors to work in his laboratory with him, knowing full and well that every inventor he hired was nowhere near as smart or as talented as he was. Why did he do this? Because even with 10,000 failures under his belt, Edison didn't think he was failing fast enough on his own. Edison is the poster child for what can be accomplished when you put failing bigger, failing faster, and failing exponentially together. He literally lit the world. And that is the conclusion of my Go for No training.
Yeah. Well, I gotta tell you this too, guys. Edison, here's the difference between what Edison did and what we're doing. And I want you guys to think about this. 10,000 ways to do it. There were 2 options for the result. There was it worked and it didn't. We are not, I challenge you to not think of, while we're thinking of yes or no, don't think of the success as if you got the sale or not, because we're also dealing with people that have a little bit more than, you know, black or white answers on everything. There is some gray area. So it's a little different mindset. I mean, this, especially if you're doing the open house thing, because that is like gray and nebulous all day long. This is a lot more catered towards somebody who's cold calling, where it's like, hey, I'm going to have this one phone call. Did it work? Did it not? Great. I'm going to the next one. If you're doing the open house game, there is a lot more fluidity in this. So I just want you to think about that, because like Tina said, no now does not mean no later. And the cool part about this training, you guys, too, is this is vital to the follow-up process. We talk about 20 weekends a year is going to give you 20 closings. That's not if you show up 20 weekends a year. This is part of it. The follow-up process, the going for no, the keep trying, the not getting bogged down, the not getting discouraged. Those 20 closings might not all happen in 2022. You might get 2 or 3 of them at the beginning of 2023 because somebody you talked to last week at the open house is finally ready. So you remember that you're dealing with people that have a lot more gray area. So be kind to yourself and set that expectation.
Well, and not only that, guys, I actually make my team track how many no's they get at their open houses throughout the week, whatever they're doing. They report their no's to me on Mondays, along with how many open houses they did, how many appointments they had, everything. It's part of their quota. It's part of what they're supposed to be doing, is how many no's did you get? And it's amazing to watch every single year since we did this, that every single time my first and second top sales of the year are always the people who exponentially went for no. It became a game to them. They're excited to report how many no's they got. They're like, okay, Tina, this week I got 160 no's. And it's because they're asking people questions over and over again at the open houses. And I'm like, well, how many appointments did you get this week? They're like, I got 3. I got 3 appointments. I'm super excited. I wrote 2 offers. JJ was one of the best, man. She'd come in, she'd be like, okay, Tina, I got 300 no's. I did 3 open houses. I door knocked a little bit. And guess what? I got 4 under contract. I have 2 listing appointments for next week. Like, I'm killing it this week. And it's because I hit my no quota and beyond.
The other thing I love about this,
got in.
And the other thing I love about it, especially for open houses, you guys, is it gives you something, it gives you an active objective for every single person that walks through the door. So even if you have somebody that walks through the door that you're like, oh my God, I can't stand this person, no to whatever, I still have something active. I'm waiting for him to tell me that no. Tell me.
I need to know.
I want to hear it. I need to hear it so I can move on to the next person. And it always gives you something, because that's the biggest thing, you know, with our team too. I've been doing a lot of, you know, with my team, I've been doing a lot of touring of the different open houses, talking about the conversation. And one of the things that really makes a difference at the open house, you guys, your energy, when you're sitting there, having an active purpose versus having a passive experience. This is the difference. You can always have an active purpose if you're going for no. Always. 100%. And it's focusing on the right results. It's focusing on the communication, not on the sale. Start thinking of that as the symptom. You know, the thing that's just going to come, the money. We talked about the 6-figure income. When you concentrate so hard on that 6-figure income, it's a mountain that is so high and almost nearly impossible, and you're going to bog yourself down. If you back that up and just concentrate on yes or no and let me get an answer out of them, either way, it doesn't matter to me. All of a sudden, everything else is just going to fall in line, and you're going to be like, you know, you're going to be that person that's going to say, yeah, I got 4 appointments this week, 2 listing appointments. I got one going live next week. It's going to go nuts. It is a small mindset shift, you guys. It is super small, but it makes a big difference. It is exponential, and it will ripple out in all the different parts of your business. It will ripple out in all the different parts of your life. Yep. It's really important.
Max, I want to open it up. Who has questions?
Yes.
I do.
Who's I?
Bill Bliss. Hi.
Hey, bud. How are you? Oh, there you are. How are you?
Hey. Yeah, I've been going in and out of video, but great call. Been on the whole time. Maybe we can cover some role play stuff in terms of how to get the no's at the open house, and what do you mean? There may be like, okay, so how do I get a no at an open house? What do you mean? Questions.
Mm-hmm. Here's a great one. When they walk back, do you love this home?
Can I share a quick story before we get into that?
Yeah.
This is really funny, because at least it is to me, because it was an open house in this area, and it was I got the open house by putting signs up. My boys were putting signs up on one side of the street, and I was on the other, and this guy comes walking up to me, and his Mercedes-Benz down the road. I'm walking down the street, sticking in my sign, and I think he's like an HOA Nazi or something. And I'm like, hey, did I do something wrong, sir? And he's like, no, man, are those your kids? I'm like, yes, sir. And he goes, oh my gosh, that's unbelievable. You have your kids involved, yada, yada. Okay. He goes, I got a house in Dr. Phillips and Torrey Pines, and it was ended up being my first listing that was up there, up above, around 600 something grand. And whatever it was, 3.5 years ago. And this guy comes in as a looky-loo from the neighborhood. I mean, disheveled. I mean, specks of dandruff on his black sweater. And I mean, an hour later, I'm sitting there like going, leave in my brain, right? Because it was like he was an oxygen thief. He kept on asking all this stuff and telling me how much money he made. But man, oh man, that one open house, and that guy ended up buying out on the beach. And when you said you hear no, this guy said no so many times. I took him to the beach. He wanted river and he wanted beach property, either or. 60 showings from Orlando. We went to the beach 8 times, and he said no, and he said no, and he offered $400,000 less. All the time, just stuff like that. It is definitely, this is so great, guys. You guys don't know it yet. I don't think, and I hope you do, because the no's that is exactly where you got to be, and enjoy them. And I never decided to revel in it until today. I wasn't thinking that then, but I'm just more of a bulldog and it kept going. And maybe that was stupid, but it panned out. But man, oh man, just thank you very much for this, because it is freeing. It is freeing. Good job.
Well, these are when people talk about the secret sauce and the little stuff, Bill, thank you. This is where it is. It's not the biggest, shiniest new system. It's not, being the best marketer in the world. It's this little simple stuff that everybody seems to not put value in. And I do have one challenge for you. If you are doing open houses, which I know most of you are on this call, you will never stop. The no that you're going to ignore is, are you working with an agent? If you get that one, ignore that one and keep going for a different no, because everybody's going to tell you no. And if you take Tina's training, everybody's going to tell you no. The secret's out.
Yep, 100%.
It must be.
And I encourage you guys 100% to practice getting no's. Like, practice getting no's from your significant other. Practice getting no's from your kids. Practice, and here's the thing, play a game with it. Like, with your kids. The kids are the best ones to play a game with, okay? Because you're like, how many questions can I ask them to get a no? And you're asking them because you want to get the right answer from them, right? Like, did you do your homework? No. well, when do you think you're going to do your homework? Do you think you could do it now? No. And you keep asking them the questions over and over and over again, but you keep thinking of different ways to ask them until they say yes to you. Now, maybe it's out of annoyance. It could be. Maybe it's out of you asked it in the right way that all of a sudden connected with their brain. And so practice with the people you know, practice with your friends, practice with your family. I love getting my mom to say no to me because it's so hard for her to say no. She doesn't want to say no ever to anybody. And so I'll ask her different things and then get her to say no. And then I'll be like, Mom, how did that feel that you just said no? Is it okay? Do you feel okay? It's all right that you just said no. And I make it a game to get my mom to say no to me because she never says no to anybody. So yes, I would love to role play with you. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time today to do that.
We'll do it another Monday in the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
We'll get this together.
Now, guys, I have to share something with you while Max and I are here together. Did you guys know that I'm featuring Max at my Orlando workshop next Monday and Tuesday? Max Ward Law is actually taking the first segment. I've never shared my stage with anybody ever, but Max is coming on, and this is his practice run before we go to his hometown in Michigan. And I'm super excited to feature him. If you guys have not gotten tickets, it is next Monday and Tuesday on Eventbrite. So please go on and get your ticket because we're starting to fill up pretty quick.
Well, and I want to say one more thing too, and something, well, thanks guys. No, this is super excited. We're actually collaborating on this, and this has been a really, really fun journey. It's kind of like I found like my kindred spirit in open houses, and she fills the other side. It's like yin and yang for us. It's amazing. But together, you put this stuff together and it is gangbusters. It's nuts. Explosive. And then it's just practicing it and getting comfortable with the uncomfortable stuff. And one of the things that actually, it just reminded me of it. And one of the things that Tina suggested for me that has also been a game changer, you guys, because a lot of times when we're doing this, go for no, all that. And we're talking about asking questions. What am I going to ask? What am I going to ask? That is the biggest question that I get is I don't know what to say. I don't know what to ask. Take it out of context. Tina actually suggested that I read a book called How to Talk So Your Kids Will Listen and How to Listen So Your Kids Will Talk. Take it out of context and put it into something that is universal, that has nothing to do with real estate, and then apply those skills to real estate. That's how you start asking questions. Read that book. It's pretty interesting.
So I read the book, How to Talk So Your Kids Will Listen, How to Listen So They'll Talk, because when I went through a divorce when my kids were 5 and 7, the counselor recommended this book. Well, I happened to be in timeshare sales at the time. It increased my sales 30% reading this book. Because adults are like children, especially when they're afraid of you. And so learning how to speak less and get them to talk more is the foundation of this book. And it is amazing. And they put it in little cartoon characters where you're having different conversations with people, with the kids. And so when you're talking to people, when you're first reading this book, you're sitting there talking to people at your open houses or wherever you're getting your clients from. And you can actually see the little bubbles pop up like in your head while you're trying to have conversation. Okay, I'm going to say this, and then here's their bubble. And then here's my bubble, and then here's their bubble. And you can completely direct the conversation how you want it to go. And really, it does go on the whole go for no standards of how you have communication. It's very funny how 100%. They go hand in hand.
But sometimes, and I just wanted to point that out there, because sometimes, I'm huge. You'll hear me talk about the acting stuff. It's taking stuff out of the context of what we're doing and apply and bringing in the skills from something else that is much more easy to understand for all of us. Because in real estate, we try to like live up to this thing that we all think we need to be. You know what I'm saying? Stop, please. You will hear me please stop. You don't need to put on this character. You don't need to be anything other than who you are. Learn the skills from these other life places these universal life things and apply them to real estate, and you're going to get a lot more yeses through your nose, because people are going to connect with you on a way. Everyone is conditioned about sales talk, right? Everyone is conditioned about sales talk. When you start talking, when you know the roadmap, where you need to go, but you're not talking in sales terms and it's completely different, you're going to get a lot more yeses through your nose. So just think of it that way, you guys. How to talk so your kids will listen, how to listen so your kids will talk.
And I need to make one more announcement, Max, while we're on here.
Let's do it.
Jonathan, say hello. Everybody knows who Jonathan Master is. Mm-hmm. Jonathan Master has officially been invited to join my events team.
Yay! So, that's awesome.
Yes. That's he awesome. Did such a great job in West Palm Beach last week, but he's going to make a great addition. So haven't announced it on Facebook yet, but I told Jonathan that I would announce it today, and we're going to put out an official announcement out there. So he's going to be assisting Bonnie and Mariah as my back end, and Max, he will be helping with Michigan.
Yeah, I've got some things on that. I'm waiting to hear back for a space up there that's not a hotel ballroom, because I'm sick of them. But there was one other thing I was going to say. So we've got Tina's training April 5th and 6th.
4th and 5th. 4th
and 5th. So next Monday and Tuesday. Yep. I am also, so I'm doing the first part of the section on setup and that kind of a thing. If you need somebody, I'm doing my 2-hour lunch and learn as well on April 13th. That's a Thursday. I will have the details and the invite for you guys available next week. But this is, again, like the same one. I challenge you, you guys are on this call. You get, you know, it's everything that we're talking about, and I put it in a nice 2-hour package with a bow on it. But my challenge to you is, if you come, you are more than welcome. Please bring somebody that has never heard this stuff before and needs it. That is my challenge and my big ask for you, because I want to spread the love on this, because this is, and I talk about this all the time, especially with other agents that come through my open house. When we're, you know, how'd you learn this? Why are you doing, you know, all this kind of stuff? What it boils down to is that this segment of the business, person-to-person contact, relationship building, will never go out. It doesn't matter. Zillow will never be able to do it. Open Door will never be able to do it. Redfin will never be able to do it. This is the part we are creating and carving ourselves out. I mean, we're basically becoming the funeral directors of real estate by doing open houses. And I don't mean that in a morbid way, but, you know, we're always going to need a funeral director.
100%.
No matter what happens, right?
Cruise director.
So,
cruise
director. We like that too. But I mean, you know what I'm saying. I'm not saying that in a morbid way, but you know, these are the skills. And right now is the time, you guys. We are closing up Q1, going into Q2, and that means fasten your seatbelts, because it's about to get crazy up in here. And with these interest rates, I think we're at 4.25 right about now. With these rising, and it's going to still going up
5 more times. 5 more times this year.
People are getting freaked out.
Yep.
So there, you have a wonderful opportunity to ask them questions. You have a wonderful opportunity to make them feel welcome. You have a wonderful opportunity to help them through this uncertain and difficult time, because we've seen it before. You know, and if you haven't personally seen it before, there's one person on this call, at least one person on this call, that I know 100% has seen it before, and that's Mr. Fred DeFalco here. So you have, and that's the power of this group, you have on this call 41 other people. We had 57 on a little bit earlier. You also have 800 some people in our network if you are part of GPS. You have so much knowledge at your fingertips. Do not be the person they need you to be, not the person that they expect you to be.
Hey, Max.
Yeah, hey, Max, that number's almost at 1,000.
That I want to.
That's amazing. Bill?
Wow, that's awesome.
Market change. No problem. But it's going into it where you're studying and you're understanding, okay, the interest rates are going to go up high. and less people are going to want to buy and pull the trigger, which means prices are probably going to come down. You can either, you have two choices. I think Max and a lot of people, right? You got two choices. You can sit there and have the fear and be worried, or you can look your buyer in the face and just go, you know what? As long as I know what you want for a home, I'm going to find you a house. We're going to find you a house, because these interest rates may be higher, but the prices are probably going to pull back some. Maybe but you've got to be positive. There are going to be so many people that are going to leave this business. Don't you dare think about leaving this business.
Oh no.
Rock and roll.
Huge opportunity. Bill,
it's actually awesome. It's the best thing that could happen.
Yeah.
100%. We need a rebalance of the market so that when you guys are actually showing buyers homes, they have some homes to choose from and can actually pull the trigger and not be beat out by 10 offers, 20 offers, 30 offers.
And we
shift
talked about
is
this
the best
too.
thing.
And I was going to say, for your open house business, you guys, imagine if this starts slowing down and, all of a sudden, houses are spending a few more days on the market. We might get 1 or 2 weekends out of them. And instead of having 4 houses available, we might have, 20. That sounds really tough for our open house business, doesn't it? No, it's actually going to make it better.
The greatest thing ever.
It's the best thing ever.
I have to share. I used to love sitting at the same open house for 5 weeks if I could, 6 weeks if I could. And here's why. Because people knew that I was there and they would come back looking for me. So if they didn't give me their information the first time they came in, they would come back like a week or two later and they're like, oh my gosh, I saw the signs. I knew it was you. I'm so glad you're here. I need to work with you. I need to work with you. My best open house ever was a listing I took in the Sun Cities. It was my first one. It was on the market for 7 months because they had a third of an acre in a 55 plus community with a ton of fruit trees and a pool. Who wants that? And it was 2,500 square feet, 3-bedroom, and everybody wants a 2-bedroom, 2-bath in a retirement community. They don't want that big of a home. And I sat there for 7 months, 5 days a week in this open house that had just made it my office. And people would come in and sit with me and have coffee with me in the neighborhood. And then they would bring all of their friends over to sit and have coffee with me. When I started that listing, I had only sold 8 properties that year in June. I closed the year with 42 because I sat in the same open house.
Yeah, and you didn't get any listings or make any connections with the neighbors by having a consistent presence at all, right?
They loved it. The neighbors would all come in. Next thing I knew, they were bringing their friends and family members in that were visiting them. And they were like, they need to buy a home, Tina. And then this other lady was like, well, I was using my friend, but she treats me like I'm a second-class citizen. So I'm going to dump my friend as a realtor and I need you to represent me. And I can tell you every single one of their names and who they were, because every week they would come in and have coffee with me and sit at this table. And that's how I built my entire career in one location the first year, is by sitting that same open house over and over and over again.
And how many times did you hear no? In
Hundreds.
Sitting that one open house?
All of those people that brought their friends and family to me told me no at least 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9 times before they started bringing people to me. Every single time.
Hey, Tina and Max, that's the key. That's called, what is success? It's the artful management of failures and setbacks, right? And so what you did, you artfully managed. And that's the key to this. And this whole idea of the no, a lot of what you were talking about this morning reminded me a lot about some of Ziegler's training and stuff, is that, first of all, you got to look at the word no as a professional real estate person spelled. It can only be spelled one way, K-N-O-W. When someone tells you no, they just don't know enough. Those people didn't know enough. You're going to be sitting there week after week after week. So you did, and you just kept it up, right? So, when we say this is a mindset, well, the problem is that mindset is not today, and we're all going to get off and forever. We're going to be able to really love our no's. It's a daily thing, right? Is that we've got to know who we are, because business is not good or bad out there. It's good or bad in here. So, you know, that's the key. And success is the artful management of failures and setbacks. So we got to learn to artfully manage what we call NOs, treat them as KNOWs, and just keep going, as Bill was talking about, as you were talking about, both of you. And, you know, I see Frank Hopkins out there walking. Look at him. So we're changing the Wednesday meetings from Soulful Wednesdays to Mind-Body Mastermind. I just posted the new Facebook group.
I love that.
This power, you know, we get power from little things, right? Walking. I just did a scientific video yesterday on that site. Look it up, the Power Walk. It's a 9-minute video, and what it does to us, both in all areas, right? But then when you keep working on your mind, and your mindset is a daily, not daily, hourly difference. I have to change it every hour, as we all do. So this is great. I mean, I love that book. I haven't read that book, but I mean, I love that concept. Matter of fact, I wrote a manuscript in 1989, Success, the Awful Management of Failures and Setbacks. And that was a mistake, by the way. God said, oh, you think you know something about that? Let me teach you a few lessons here. And I haven't stopped learning ever since. The failures and learning the artful management of failures and setbacks. So that was great, man. Thank you. Everyone, just go out, artfully manage. Please join that Facebook group. Get out there and do what Frank's doing. Post your success, post your journey, because what this does for you, and read my personal story on there, how this literally saved my life, this concept of walking and learning at the same time. So this is great. You can't have enough of this. How do you spell no? KNOW.
KNOW. I love that. Well, on